Today's episode is brought to you by FreedomProject Academy. Looking for a K-12 classical online school built on Judeo-Christian values? FPA is enrolling now for the fall. Request your free information packet at freedomforschool.com. That's freedom, F-O-R, school.com.
It's time to get educated on the craziness impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses around the world. This is the Dr. Duke Show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Duke Show. I'm David Fiorazzo, joined by the one and only Katie Petrick. And before we get started, please hit that share button so we can educate more patriots and raise awareness around the country. All right, today, let's start in Virginia, where, believe it or not, a new set of school rules could end up with students being suspended for simply using the wrong preferred pronouns when addressing others. Now, this is sad but true. Actually happened. A Daily Signal headline: using wrong pronouns could lead to suspensions in Virginia public schools. And living as a Christian could get a student suspended. Why? Because a Christian would obviously have to resort to the Bible and what the Bible teaches and saying, wait a minute, there are two genders, according for not only to the Bible, but according to biology, male and female. So that could now cause a conscience issue for Christian students. And I mean, Katie, whether you're in fancy dress or not, this could get you in a lot of trouble if you're in the public school and someone in your class decides to demand that you call them a certain pronoun.
Well, I must say you have some fancy dress on today, sir. If you have no idea what David is referencing, watch yesterday's
episode.
Show. It was great. Now, you're correct, except you're not a biologist, so you cannot determine
yes, you're right.
what a male, female, or alphabet soup you are.
Yeah.
And anytime, you know, I'm not a person who drinks alcohol, but anytime we get a Virginia story, I think we should take a shot because we would be drunk a lot here at the Dr. Duke Show. This one's out of Fairfax County. It's either Fairfax County or it's Loudoun County.
Yep.
And what's so interesting about both of those counties is it's just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Washington, D.C., where all the fancy elite people live in, if they try to move out to the burbs there in Fairfax County or Loudoun County. And so obviously, if you're going to use the wrong pronouns, you're going to get suspended because we are so progressive here in Virginia nowadays.
It's not just Virginia, though, right?
Oh, correct.
Yeah.
But now at least we find out in Virginia that you can get suspended. And so what happened is the school board, and those school boards, they conducted their annual review of Regulation 2601, and they proposed edits to the 70-page long document. And it was on the students' rights and responsibilities. And then, oh my gosh, a parent actually read the document.
Wait a minute.
Read the document.
The viewers are going to have a hard time taking that in. A parent read the whole document.
Yes.
And found out that this was in there. That
shocker.
That students could face suspension for up to 5 days, possibly further punishment for referring to a fellow student according to their biological, God-given sex. So let's walk us through this chart, Katie. Help explain this to us.
Well, okay, so the offending provision here, it appears first on page 21 under the SBAR code, and it says RB9H, and it's saying that using slurs based upon the actual or perceived gender identity, which includes but it's not limited to malicious dead naming. Yes, because dead naming now is a thing where, like, how dare you say actually what you are,
okay.
Or malicious misgendering.
What's the difference between dead naming and misgendering?
From what my understanding is when you dead name someone, it's like if they changed who they are, and then the misgendering is like how they identify as such. So if they go by a different name and such, yeah. Who knows, because they keep changing the definitions of their terminology.
Yeah, they're moving the goalposts.
So again, this is on page 21. Now, there's a corresponding level 4 violation, which we have no idea what that means because they did not define it anywhere. And it merits that the punishment circled R, so you can see the R symbol there on that chart. This is kind of all confusion, but that was defined on page 19. Now that allows for that suspension of up to 5 days.
Oh, only 5 days?
Oh, only 5 days,
okay.
If frequency and intensity are present. Now it also allows for a referral to the division superintendent. And then there's text in brackets and a proposed addition there. Now, if you just look at this, no wonder no one found it, because no one is going to just look at the gobbledygook of whatnot. But if you can just read through, ignore the codes, ignore the whatever, use just read the words using slurs based upon the actual or perceived race, ethnicity, color, national origin, citizenship, immigration status, weight, gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, or disability. Usually, in the past, in life, up until about 10 seconds ago, we would just kind of brush through all that once they say you do not discriminate upon race, religion, ethnicity, any of that. But now they've slipped all of these other terms of the gender identity and gender naming and gender, this, that, or otherwise. That's where they get it, because no one's actually reading it until thankfully one parent out there did all the work so that they can see that your kid, for simply not using the pronouns.
Wow.
The proper pronouns, according to them, can get suspended from school, which, let's be honest, if you go to a school in Fairfax County, Virginia, you're better off not being in school. That's just my opinion on them.
I think we need to clarify something if you didn't catch this, friends who are watching right now. If you have a commitment to God, the Bible, absolute truth, you are going to be in trouble here. I should say your children will be in trouble here, because it assumes that Christians are believing and acting maliciously. Fairfax County wrongly assumes malicious intent if you use the wrong name or pronoun, presuming that the transgender affirmation is the only proper or right moral option here. That's what this is assuming, is it not?
Mm-hmm. And just so everyone's aware, this is not the only place it's happening. Right in our backyard, basically in Kiel, Wisconsin, we reported on it last week on the Dr. Duke Show with Dr. Duke. Kiel middle schoolers, 3 middle schoolers, were actually being investigated over their misuse of pronouns. And the school district actually filed a Title IX complaint against 3 middle school boys who were told, the girl in their class wants to be called they, and the boys didn't technically, I guess, use the proper pronoun for they, and so now they actually are getting investigated for sexual harassment for using incorrect pronouns. Take a look last week at the Dr. Duke Show.
Okay, wait a minute. How big of a city is Kiel?
About this big.
Couple thousand?
Yeah, about this big.
What?
Yeah,
Guess?
several thousand, no more than, it's smaller than a mid-city.
So our point that I make on our podcast, that Dr. Duke and Katie make on this show often is, this is not just a big city problem or a big school district problem. These are small towns across the U.S., part of the indoctrination.
With all the censorship taking place on social media platforms, we've made it easy to keep up with your favorite content. Simply download the Freedom Project Media app in your app store. Get access to 18 new videos a week, plus thousands of archived shows, lecture series, and educational animations. Download the Freedom Project Media app on your Apple TV, Roku, tablet, or phone, and make sure you allow for notifications to keep you informed.
Before we move on, please take a moment to consider supporting the work we do here at Freedom Project. If you do, of course, enjoy our content, please consider joining the Patriot Club with a donation. And, of course, as a little token of our appreciation, we will send you our trademark American Patriot tumbler. Simply visit patriotclub.us to get signed up. That's patriotclub.us. Just know, we need your support so we can keep doing everything that we're doing. Which includes this next story. Well, did you know that liberals outnumber conservatives when it comes to the universities? I mean,
really?
Breaking news. So naturally, the number of graduation speakers, being conservative, would, just be outnumbered by a little bit. And as we found for at least this spring's commencement, just 53 to 3. I mean, it's only 53 liberals talking at commencement to, 3 conservatives. So who are the lucky 3 who made it past, I guess, all the red tape, if you will? Well, Young America's Foundation's commencement speaker survey, they found that at the top 100 universities in America, they had all the liberals, and These are the three men who made it through. Oh, geez, it's a bunch of men. We have Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, football icon. Is he a football icon? Would you say
Tebow.
a man named Tim Tebow, is it? Was it? And the Greece Prime Minister, Kyriakos Mitsotakis. The Greek. They were the lone conservative voices that have been elevated during the spring commencement season. Now, Youngkins is going to be at Virginia Tech, which makes sense considering he's the Virginia governor. Tim Tebow, actually. Tebow, right?
Yep.
You said? Oh, Tebow. Got it.
Yeah.
He is so special that he gets to speak at the University of Florida and Trine University.
Well, he graduated and played
Yes,
football. He
this
was a
is
star and a
true.
Heisman Trophy winner at University of Florida. So that's not exactly,
I mean,
something that's
he
surprising.
was. That's back when kneeling wasn't cool, is what happened. But
Yeah,
now
oh,
that
that's
kneeling
right.
is cool.
Yeah.
And then Mitsotakis is at Boston College, and that one's actually upcoming. Now, when Youngkin gave his speech to Virginia Tech, if I had to sit in that audience and listen to him, he talked about higher education institutions and how they should renounce this cancel culture and on how to find a way to promote civil discourse. Boring. I mean, how lame is that they invited Glenn Youngkin to make sense, common sense. And we had some liberals, of course, speaking all around, David.
Yes.
There's this guy named Joe Biden.
Yep.
He's said to be the president in the United States. Stay tuned for his, because right before Memorial Day, he'll be speaking.
Oh, boy.
In Delaware, I believe.
So how do you think the teleprompter is going to handle that?
I don't know. It will be interesting.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that one, let me tell you. Former NBA player Dwayne Wade, he spoke at Marquette University, which he graduated from, so that makes sense. Yes, fine. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern talked. But, I mean, MSNBC host Simone Sanders, so glad she was able to talk so she could rally for social justice while she spoke at the School of Public Affairs graduates. At GW, George Washington University, Representative Susan Wild, who you may have heard about this one, she's a Democrat from Pennsylvania. She actually focused her speech against former President Donald Trump, because why wouldn't you? I mean, you're talking to the graduates of any prestigious college, especially GW.
Oh.
I mean, if you're talking to them, you must invoke Orange Man bad.
Slam dunk when you go against Trump. Hey,
Why
I
not?
kind of rhymed that.
Why not?
Slam dunk when you go against, at least on university campuses.
This is true. Now, here's a doozy for you. We had Republican Senator Cynthia Loomis, who apologized. Mea culpa, mea culpa. So much of that mea culpa. She had apologized because she declared in her University of Wyoming speech, all, 7 people who even attend Wyoming, who live in Wyoming, she said there were only 2 sexes.
No.
Yes.
She did?
She done it. And so they booed her immediately, all 7 of them. And so she had to say mea culpa about that.
Oh, she's Republican.
Yes, that's why. So
and
she said she's
there
sexist,
are
and then
2.
they booed her, and now she, mea culpa, because eventually she wants to get reelected, I'm sure.
Wow.
And it really does. I mean, does it not all just make sense? All of this makes sense.
Yeah, it
because
does.
according to a recent YouGov America poll, found that 47% of Americans, that's less than 50, but 47 nonetheless, believe that college campuses make students more liberal than when they began. Now, about
47. Flip that. It should be like 74.
Well, and that's just Americans in general, because remember, not everyone goes to college, and you're all the better off if you didn't. Approximately 56% of college graduates agreed that college and universities fostered liberal ideology. So then more than half of those who went to college are like, yeah, it does. In contrast, only 6% of the respondents actually reported that when they attend college, it makes you more conservative. 6% only say that. And 22% who probably were asleep or drunk for the entirety of their college experience said, it makes no difference to me.
Today's show is sponsored by our friends at MyPillow. Save up to 66% on all items at MyPillow.com when you use the code Dr. Duke. That's DRDUKE. Support this show by supporting a great American company.
Sometimes the stories just They're too good to not share with you all. So in this one, sit back, relax, enjoy what we're about to show you because it'll make you cry if you don't at least take some pride in what you do. Now, we have a man on the street interview done by the one, the only Fleckis Talks channel, who Austin Fletcher, I've had him on my show a couple different times and interviewed him. Well, he had one of his correspondents, who's a TikTok star, go out onto the street and just ask people, college kids, simple, well, what you would think are simple, but I guess they're not really simple. They're more challenging questions just about the world in general. And I know David had some issues with a lot of these questions himself, so we'll see if he learned anything from watching.
Do you know when the U.S. was founded?
No.
Take a guess, around when?
Like 1901?
Yes, very good.
It is?
It was close, around there, but I'll give it to you. Who fought in the Civil War?
I don't know.
Do you know how many continents there are?
No.
How many states make up the United States?
How many states make? Dude!
Do you know who the president is right now?
Joe Biden.
Do you know who the vice president is right now?
The black lady.
What was the question? How many states in the United States?
Yeah.
It's 29, I guess.
29?
I guess. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, you got it. You know how many states make up the United States?
50
You know what the capital is?
of
United States?
Harrisburg. Oh, is there a capital in the U.S.?
How long is one decade?
1 decade. No idea.
Do you know who the president was before Trump?
Of course not. I don't really look into presidents. I truly do not feed into or listen to presidents at all. I'm like a spiritual person, so I'm really on my own path, but I am trying to better humanity though.
Better humanity, though. I mean, at least he's trying to better humanity.
That one guy was a graduate.
Yeah, he's
And he
he's a
didn't know
foreigner. Does that count?
What a decade
Yeah, that
was,
too.
or how many
Yeah.
states there were.
Numbers, not his thing.
When was
apparently.
America established? 1901.
Close enough. Close enough. And the thing is, we used to watch, at least I used to watch this on Jay Leno, right? He would have the man on the street kind of walking tour. And
it's
you would
gotten worse.
It's gotten way worse.
Yeah.
Especially when you're wearing your commencement gown
Oh, God.
and cords, by the
Oh,
way, which
that's
means he's an
embarrassing.
honors student.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I know, well, if what cords still mean that, now it probably means you're
I think it means something
Part
else to
of-
do with the LGBT.
whatever color
I think
rainbow you go with.
I think
now.
it's just a part of a student's fancy dress when they graduate.
This is true. You got to put your fancy dress on. Again, reference yesterday's episode to understand. Now, when these things happen, I mean, we all laugh at them. I laugh mightily at them because I think they're hilarious. But at the same time, it's kind of like, are we just going to keep getting worse? Like,
yes.
is there? Okay, thank you for the simple response.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know-
it's true. It's sad but true.
We know what's being jammed down the kids' throats in the government-run school system. Until more parents decide to attend these school board meetings, run for school board, or actually take their kids out of the public schools and homeschool, we're going to see these man-on-the-street interviews. Imagine it getting worse, because Jay Leno, he was doing that decades ago. Wait a minute. What, I gotta look.
How old am
what
I?
What does decade mean?
Decade. How many years is
Decade.
that? I don't know.
Decade.
Deck.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50.
Carry the one? I don't know.
Expect more of this. I mean, it was sad. It was heartbreaking when we first started observing these stats 25 to 50 years ago. But now you almost have to laugh. And, I hope you can laugh too, unless your kids are in public school. Then you're saying, I better do something. All right, before we go, let's take a little more time to fill you in on some other stories we've been following here. We start in India, where two parents have filed a $643,000 lawsuit against their son and daughter-in-law. Why, you ask? Well, it's simple. They want grandchildren. This is absolutely true. The parents are demanding that they become grandparents in 1 year, or they're owed the big bucks. Now, the suit claims that parents paid for their son's car, honeymoon, and his pilot training. The father says he has paid his life's earnings to raise and educate his only son, who is now 35 years old, and it's not fair that the other people in the neighborhood have grandchildren. On a more interesting note, India actually has a law that allows parents to claim a monthly allowance from their children if they cannot take take care of themselves, I actually don't have a problem with that. Speaking of big money, a Texas mom may have to pick up a second job after her toddler masterfully found a way to bring to life the famed Jimmy Buffett song, Cheeseburger in Paradise. Watch this.
Barrett Golden ordered 31 McDonald's cheeseburgers on DoorDash, totaling more than $90. His mom, Kelsey, telling us she thought Barrett was taking pictures. You know, he just kept on hitting the screen on the phone. So she was shocked when she opened the door to have this massive order delivered. But Barrett's slip of the finger gave way to a good deed.
So I didn't know what to do with him. He only ate half of one. So it was, I posted on a community page here in Kingsville and asked if anybody wanted some. One girl came by and picked up 6.
What's that cartoon character that kept on that consumes massive amounts of cheeseburger? Or anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Free cheeseburgers for all. So Barrett's mom says that while she has now hidden the app on her phone, she was happy to see her son was nice enough to include a $16 tip on the order. Smart kid. Katie, how many of those 31 cheeseburgers could you handle?
Well, if we want to be specific to McDonald's, 0, because I've not had McDonald's in 15 years now.
Thank you.
But in general, 31 cheeseburgers, 5 if I had to.
Wow.
Maybe. I could down 5.
Wow. You must be a farm girl.
Dang right I am.
Hey, finally, let's wrap things up with everyone's favorite satire site. We've picked our favorite Babylon Bee headlines to see which one should be crowned numero uno. Well, let's start right here. Oh no, Congress approves $40 billion to Ukraine, but due to inflation, it's already worth only $30 billion. Number 2, thrift shop rebrands as vintage to increase prices 800%. Number 3, pride flag adds big G for groomers. Number 4, Elon Musk replaces horn sound on all Teslas with "Let's go, Brandon." And finally, experts confirm likelihood of surviving apocalypse directly proportional to how many items you've purchased from conservative podcasts. Yay! Katie, this is another tough one. Your top pick for this week.
Oh, that one hit close to home, that last one. But I think they're onto something here, and Elon Musk should take a look at the putting on the horn sound with "Let's Go, Brandon." If you want to get people to buy electric vehicles, that's what you do right there. Smart move.
Anyway, hey, that's going to wrap it up for this segment. More to come next time.
Oakley dokley, that's going to do it for this show. For all of us here at The Freedom Project, please stay educated, my friends.